Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining me at Two Hearts Homestead. Today we are going to finally trim back our pepper so we can overwinter it. This is our big gem pepper, and I did overwinter this pepper last year and was successfully able to grow some mighty huge peppers on it. But with the temperatures fluctuating so much, I think this is the last weekend we'll get up to mid 70s, 80s. So I'm gonna go ahead and trim it back and repot it. I'm gonna take that nice pepper off there and take that one inside. And so when I do trim this back, it's gonna look pretty drastic. I'm gonna start with a few of the outer leaves and stems, and then I'm gonna work my way in towards the center a little bit. Cutting away the outer limbs first will kind of help you see where you need to further cut down. So yeah, getting rid of a lot of these smaller branches. And cutting away a lot of these smaller little limbs here as well. So you're going to be pretty much stripping the plant naked of any leaves. You want to make sure you strip a lot of the leaves away because the leaves carry bugs. They just carry anything that you don't want to take into your home. As many of you know, I do live in southeast Wisconsin, so our winters do get extremely cold. So since I've got a lot of the leaves trimmed away, I'm going to show you on the plant. This stem, this one, and the main stems here, probably along with this one too, if I remember correctly, are the stems from last year. So those stems where there's a little node here, that's where we got our new growth here. So I'm not sure how much new growth we will get from the second year here. So I'm gonna go ahead and leave some of these nodes that are sticking out here. So the nodes are right here where the stem meets and where you can see the new little buds forming. So I'm gonna leave a few of those just so this plant doesn't have to work too hard when it comes back next year. Again, removing most of the leaves here. We don't want to take any of those in. And I know it does seem a little drastic, but this is exactly how my plant looked last year before I brought it in. So next year when this plant regrows, this part is still green in the inside. I don't know if you guys can see it, probably not with the camera, but the brown part is almost like a tree trunk. It's still green. I can see the greening in it. So I'm pretty sure that there will still be branches that do come out of this, but just in case, I don't know how many will, I'm gonna go ahead and leave a few of these green ones with the nodes here. So there should be some growth coming from these. These small ones, I'm gonna go ahead and cut them back. And the ones down here, I'm gonna go ahead and cut them off as well. So again, this does look very, very, very drastic, but it's something that needs to be done. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and leave, ow, don't peck me. I'm gonna go ahead and leave it at that. And then I'm gonna go grab my shovel and we're gonna go ahead and dig it up. I think I'm actually gonna remove this one. That one is definitely dead. So that one just crumbled apart. which is fine because the rest of the plant is still alive. And while I'm going to grab my shovel and my potting soil, I'm gonna contemplate taking one of these in as well. This was our sweet long, so this was one of our sweet peppers. It wasn't the banana pepper, and I never remember what it is. I'll post it in the video. But I'm gonna contemplate taking one of those in as well. Haven't fully decided, but my big gem I am taking in. Okay, starting to get a little dark out here very quickly. I kind of have to wait until later on in the evening when everyone has put their dogs and everything in, or all you guys hear are the dogs barking on the video. I live in a older neighborhood, I would say, so a lot of the homeowners are here during the day, so it's kind of hard to do things until I either have to do them really early or really late. So that's why some of these videos come a little late. So I am digging a few inches out to try to dig up as many roots as I can. So those are all the roots that came with this plant. And again, this is my big gem. So I'm going to rinse some of these roots off just a little bit, because you want the least amount of critters to come into your home. So I'm going to rinse as much as I can off here. If you do have a little bit of neem oil, you can spray that on here. I even recommend sprinkling just a little bit of diatomaceous earth over the plant, just in case you don't want to bring anything inside the home. So let me spray this off real quick and I'll be right back. All right, so I'm going to put a layer of potting soil, and this soil has already been pre-moistened. So I'm just going to put a little bit at the bottom here. I am going to position our pepper in here, tuck in the roots just a little bit, but leaving them flared out, if that makes sense. So tucking them in the pot so they're not sticking up, but flaring them out so they don't curl into like a ball or anything. Then I'm going to finish adding our potting soil. I'm sorry if it's getting a little bit dim. This is my backyard, so it starts getting the least amount of sunlight really quick. So there we go. We've topped it off quite nicely. I'm going to put my label in here, and we are going to take this inside and we are going to put it under our grow lights. So this is our pepper after we have brought it inside and got it situated under our lights. It's just a little bit too tall here, so I did put it in between the two lights. I don't have a lot growing right now, so I just have one of the lights on. Again, the plant only needs about 6 hours of light per day. If you do have a sunny window, that would also be a great place to put it, and I actually have done that in the past. But since I do have a wider pot here, this one will not sit in my windowsill. Last year I did have them in a more square pot, I believe, so they were able to sit a little snugger in my windowsill, but for now I'm just going to leave it here under the grow lights. See a remnant of a leaf there. It's very well watered at the moment and shouldn't need any more water for probably about 3 weeks. So when it is inside, you want to make sure that you are limiting the water. You will kill your plant. This was my mistake the first year that I did overwinter some peppers. I tried to overwinter about 20 peppers, and I drastically underestimated that they are not taking up as much water as they would if they were actually outside. And I kind of drowned the peppers, and they kind of turned to mush, and then the leaves died, the stems died, the trunk died, the roots shriveled up, and eventually I lost all of them except for one, which made it until the next spring. Planted it outside, but it died like a week later. So not sure if that was a little bit of transplant shock there or not, but be careful with your peppers and definitely limit the water. You just want this plant to stay alive. You want the plant to go dormant. You don't want to see green growth. You don't want to see any buds. You don't want to see any flowers or anything blooming. You want the plant to stay asleep until the next spring. So you want to limit everything that you do. I will give it a little bit of fertilizer come maybe, I would say January or February, just a little bit of fertilizer just to keep it going. Other than that, I would not recommend giving it any additional fertilizer or water other than what's necessary. So just to point out here, these are the branches that were cut last year. So this one right here, this end right here, that one back there that looks like it might be dead or dying, and this branch right here. So this was the branch that grew out of here that was a new growth from last year. And I'll try to tag my video from last year in here somewhere so you can just kind of compare how this looked before I did place it outside in the early summer of last year, late spring, early summer, when I did place them outside. So I did take a jalapeno pepper, a big gem pepper, and what was the other one? And a banana pepper. So I chose not to take the jalapenos or the banana peppers, and I had already cut those out of the garden a few weeks back and put those in the compost. And I'm still deciding if I want to take the other pepper that's outside along with maybe a habanero pepper. I don't really use habaneros that much, so I'm not sure if I even want to bother bringing that one in because I do have enough in my freezer. So if you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to like and subscribe.